Oh, hello, Destiny Shapers. How are you doing? Happy Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving? You want to share in the comment? Let us know what you did on Thanksgiving Day. And also let us know where you are watching us from. Today is going to be very impactful, insightful, and very blessing. Um, by the way, my name is Sheila Noy, founder of Destiny Shapers with Sheila Noy. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this community, supporting our work, sharing the videos, subscribing to the YouTube channel. We are very grateful. So God bless you. Once again, welcome. Our topic for today is financial tips for each season of life. Financial tips for each season of life. Navigating the financial journey through different life stages is crucial for building a secure and prosperous future. And you need an expert's advice, insight to guide you in this process. That is why, as Destiny Shapers, we are blessed to have our own Anthony to be with us to throw more light to this topic. And I'm hoping by the end of the presentation, we will all be so sure of what to do. What stage are you in life? What do you need to do to move you to that place of financial security? So please make sure you are paying attention, take a pen and paper, jot down some notes. And also, we would encourage you to write in your comments and your questions in the comment section. And Ask Anthony will be able to address all your questions at the end of the presentation. Before I ask Mr. Anthony to share a little bit of himself, let me read the bio that I have about him. So Mr. Anthony Amponsah is an experienced executive financial professional with demonstrated leadership role within logistics, residential construction, and supply chain management. Today, along with his wife, very beautiful wife, they operate Freeport Financial Group, which is a cutting-edge financial services firm that specializes in helping people leverage technology and financial markets to reach their goals 5 times faster. I thought that was powerful. In addition, Sir Anthony gives back to the community by serving on the board of several non-profit organizations. And we are blessed to have this wonderful personality with us today. And I know he will share everything we need to know to become the people God has created us to be. So thank you, Sir Anthony, for accepting to be with us, to share your wisdom with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Sheila Noy. And I'm so excited to be here with the whole Destiny Shapers team. And thank you so much for giving back to the community and always being a resource and providing avenues to empower and equip people for various stages in life. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to join on this Saturday. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. As the moderator said, my name is Anthony S.K. Amponsah, and that's where the Ask Anthony comes from. And like you said, I'm based out in Chicago and been there for pretty much most of my adult years. And I'm married. I have 2 beautiful daughters, 9 and 7. And we're just excited to connect with you all this today. And hopefully, at the end of the day, every time I speak to any group, my hope is that, that I'm able to at least impact something. I'm able to at least share one thing that will impact at least somebody, and if that happens, then we count it as a success. And so we're excited. We may not be able to cover everything today because this is a far and wide-ranging topic, and not every solution is a cookie-cutter solution for every single person. So if you need additional information or more customized one-on-one type of help, then we'll obviously share our details and we'll be able to connect with you further on that. So without any further delay, let's just jump right into the presentation and get into the meat and potatoes of today's session. Thank you so much for joining.
Awesome.
And we welcome your questions and comments throughout the presentation. We'll keep it interactive, so we'll welcome all your questions and we'll try to pick them up either during the course of the presentation or pick them up at the end, depending on where we're at in the presentation. So welcome, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you. And we welcome everybody. God bless you all for joining us. Please don't forget to subscribe to Destiny Shapers with Sheila Noy on YouTube, and also share this link. Be a blessing unto others. Thank you. So we'll go right into the presentation.
Yes. So I think, as we kick it off, we asked ourselves where most families are today, and what's the impact of that, in not only to that individual, but to the community at large. And one of the things that we understand is that we believe that most families today live with insufficient protection and too much debt, right? And somebody may be saying that, hey, you're preaching to the choir right now, right? And that most families don't have any savings or do not know how much money they need to save in order to reach their goals. And that's actually one of the worst position to be in, is that you don't even really know what you need to get to where you want to get to, right? And I'm a firm believer in always starting with the end in mind. So one needs to know where they're trying to end up in order to make sure that they're taking all the necessary steps in order to get there. And a lot of them don't have a strategy. There's no strategy for their future. There's no strategy on how to make enough money, and the worst cases, people don't even know what to do about it either, right? But thankfully today, through Destiny Shapers, if you're tuning in, at least you're getting an opportunity to get some tips to help you. So what's the price of all these insecurity and insufficiency in people's lives? Well, without financial security, there's always anxiety. There's always stress and frustration, and that lack always has a negative impact on people, and when you don't have enough resources, you have limited opportunities, right? It said success happens when opportunity and preparedness meet, but when you don't have the resources, you limit your opportunities. It brings about lack of confidence. Typically people that are successful, when we see them in life, we see that they often exude confidence, right? And when things are without financial security, there's lack of hope, lowered expectation. The person doesn't even want much out of life. They truly do, but because of not having the right financial security, they start to lower the expectation, right? And they have no plan for the future. So as we roll forward, we'll see that this type of things are not healthy for individuals and for families. Next. So here are the stages of life, right? From birth to 30 is what we call your learning years. This is the time of accumulation of knowledge and information, right? And we can see newborns when they come up, they're just absorbing things like sponges, right? Those are your learning years, and you want to maximize these years because these are the years that mentally, physically, emotionally, you have the capacity to, more or less take in more. Newborns or younger people can learn a new language and different things very quickly, right? So from birth to 30 is your learning years. Then from that, the experiences that you gain, the knowledge that you've accumulated, then brings you into your working years. That's from 30 to 60 typically. From your working years. Now, actually, people are working all the way to, God calls them, because they don't have the plan to really hit that last stage, which is the retiring years. But typically from 30 to 60 is where we call your working years. So it's about 30 years, 3 decades of work, okay? And your retiring years is from 60 to eternity. But actually the good thing is that people are actually living longer, is what they tell us, right? People are living longer. So people are retiring, let's say in their 60s or early mid 60s, and people are living well into their 80s and even 90s. So you realize that, after retirement, there's still another good 20 to even in some cases 30 years worth of life left. So what that means is that within your working years, right, you have to accumulate enough, not only for that period, but also for the stages afterwards, which is the retiring years. And the key note here is that it is in one's interest, right, to go by this to reduce any unnecessary friction and pressures of life. If there's any pressures or unnecessary friction at each one of these stages, guess what? It could have a negative impact on your life. So as we roll forward, you see that, you got to ask yourself, what do you want to accomplish in life? Remember, I said in the beginning that it is always important to start with the end in mind. What is your vision? The good word says that, for lack of vision, people perish. So when people don't have a clear vision of what they want to achieve, guess what? They just wander about because they don't have a clear agenda. One of the best advice that has ever been given about achieving anything in life is what? Identify that which you want, set a goal, okay? Then go about writing down exactly what you need to do to accomplish the task, and then take step by step to accomplish it. This is the recipe, and it's the recipe for any task, whether it's small or big or, whatever. It's the recipe to identify that which you want, identify the steps that it will take to get there, and then begin to track those steps. Okay. So what is it that you want to accomplish in life? What type of future do you want? Where do you want to retire? What type of schooling do you want for your kids? When do you want to get married? Who do you want to marry? What type of life do you want to have with your spouse? What type of life do you want to have for your kids? What do you want to live back? How much do you want to impact society? What is your mission in life? What is that God-given destiny that you feel you need to accomplish in life? Okay, so those are the key things that you got to hone in on. And as the year 2023 is coming to an end, these are the things that you want to start to focus on. If you haven't really gotten a clear identity on these things, you want to start focusing on these things and start preparing yourself for the next upcoming year, where you are able to get a fresh start to tackle these things. Rolling next. Let's talk about choosing a spouse, and we'll go through various stages. But this is one of the most critical stages right when you start in your working years, right? And there are a lot of things that one needs to take into consideration, But today we're talking about financial matters. We're not here to give necessarily advice on the spouse you choose from, romance and all those things. You find another guru for that, okay? Today we're here to talk about financial things to take into consideration. So when it comes to choosing a spouse, guess what? We know that in these stages, people are very excited. They just, they found the one that they love or like, and the emotions are high and everything. But you want to make sure that there's a financial compatibility, right? Importance of shared financial values. What does the other spouse want to achieve also in life? What are their habits? These are some of the things that you want to get well grounded on. What is the habits of this person? What are their financial goals, right? And how do they go about communicating about money, right? You want to be able to separate the emotional feelings that you have for that person and to be able to sit down and have a grounded conversation on some of these key topics, because it definitely have an impact, not only on your relationship, but really over your entire life. Next. Now let's talk about your early adulthood, right? We want to discuss building a strong financial foundation, and we cannot understate the impact or the importance of this, because the foundation is what will allow you to build upon. Okay, so if you start with a firm and strong foundation, then you have a much higher success that the building or the structure that you put on that foundation will stand the test of time. Okay. Address topics like budgeting, emergency funds, and debt management. These are all key things, making sure that you know what's coming in and what's going out. Emergency funds, making sure that you set money aside, and debt management. These are and it's also important at this stage to obviously identify the type of debts that you have. Sometimes I sit down with people and as we're trying to assess the debt and, just even where their money situation is, it's sometimes hard for them because they've really never sat down and talked about it. You want to emphasize the value of starting to save for long-term goals, things like home ownership, education. Okay. These are long-term, huge financial commitments. And you want to make sure that you're accounting for those early in your early adulthood. So next. Okay. Marriage and household management. Once somebody has then identified the right spouse or the right partner, and the key thing to then worry about is how do you manage the resources that are coming in to the house, right? How do we manage these resources? And who's the better person to actually manage these resources, or have a more bigger input into how we manage these resources, and this is a place where, ego and pride has to be put to the side and make sure that we identify the right person. I know society and a lot of cultural norms typically defer this to men, but we see that, in today's society, especially as women has been given the opportunity to really live their God-given destinies, we realize that this is not a topic just for men. It's not the men that is always good with finances. In some families, it's actually the women that is stronger in this area. So this is an area where you want to make sure that the right person with the right skill sets is the one that is more or less having the bigger control on how some of these decisions are made. Obviously, there's open discussions about these different things, in terms of, whether people even have a joint or separate accounts. These are all about communication, right? It's all about understanding one another and making sure that there's transparency. It is so sad and so unfortunate that we live in a time where people are committed to live and share their life together forever. But when it comes to, whether their transparency and where their money matters are, that people are still, for lack of better words, divided in these type of key areas. You want to make sure that we're revisiting all our plans as we're managing our household. So things change. Sometimes we wanted things to go one way, but in other cases, things just don't materialize the way we expect it to materialize. So we have to be flexible in order to make sure that we adapt into the situation. So next. So let me just give you a quick recap on actionable items for those in the early adulthood. Now, again, everything we're discussing doesn't mean that you have to be only married in your early adulthood to be able to take advantage of these things. Like we said, we want to establish emergency fund. The goal is to have about 3 to 6 months. That's the key target. 6 months preferably, 3 basic, 6 months preferably. That is money that is in a readily accessible account. That is not money in like a 401k. Okay. Emergency funds are money that is in very accessible accounts so that if you need it, you can go in there and tap into it. Now you may say, wow, 3 to 6 months, that's a lot of money. Yes, it is. But think about the peace of mind you're able to have when you know that you have that much already set aside, right? We're talking about financial security, right? Create a budget, track income and expenses to understand and control spending, right? Someone once said that when your outgo exceed your income, then your upkeep can become your downfall. So it's very, very important, right? When your outgo exceeds your income, then your upkeep can become your downfall. So you want to make sure that you're living within your means. And this applies to every level, because one of the things that I also learned, in life is that it doesn't matter. You can be broke at various levels. It's not necessarily just the money coming in. It's how that money is being used and being managed. Because somebody can be earning, let's say, under 100,000, and feel that they're not doing well, or they're financially tight. Somebody is making 200,000-300,000, and they're feeling the same pressures. Okay, so it's always not just what comes in, but it's also what is going out. How much do you get to keep? Okay, start saving for retirement. You want to start early. We talked about you have about 20 to 30 years in some cases in retirement. So you want to start early to be able to allow time to help in your favor. Manage debt responsibly, pay off the high interest ones. Okay, and by all means, avoid accumulating unnecessary debt. There's no need to be financing things that you don't need to impress people. Okay, establish credit, right? Having a good credit helps, especially in this system that we're living in right now. Everywhere you turn, it's credit, 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 right? You book a room for a hotel, you need a credit card. You book a car rental, you need a credit card. In many places now, in fact, now some companies are checking people's credit before they provide jobs to them, because they want to see how well you are at managing your own resources. Okay, so those are some of the key actionable tips that one can take. Next, start talking about parenthood, right? This is when you're preparing for the next generation, right? And the goal is that the next generation should always have it better. They should always start from where we stopped, right? We don't need to go back and start fresh, And as parents, we need to have that mindset that just because you struggled doesn't mean that your children or the next generation necessarily have to struggle. Okay. Yes, there's a certain blessing and there's a certain benefit in going through certain types of struggles. I'm not saying that spoon feed them to make them weak in life, but what we're saying is that they should always start ahead, right, and not have to go back and redig the same trenches that we've already dug. Talk about budgeting for children, right? Education, savings, life insurance. These are great conversations to have with children, especially in your parenthood time. Discuss the significance of teaching children about money. This is very, very important. You want to teach children about money because that they're going to be the next leaders in society, right? And financial literacy is something that you're never too young, because again, money matters impact pretty much every facet of our lives. Every facet of our life, it impacts it. And so you want to make sure that you're discussing these things so that these children understand the value and the import of money. Let's go next. Now let's talk a little bit about midlife financial planning. Now this is where, you're working hard, now you're getting into your 40s, from 40s going, now you're in your midlife. Now, this is a very important and critical stage in life. Things could be changing, right? Sometimes people are thinking about having career changes, and it's never too late, right, to start fresh. People have to now consider perhaps caring for an aging parent, saving still for their children's education. Okay, importance of retirement planning during this stage. Again, you want to make sure that you don't want to get to the next stage before you think about the items or the things that needs to be done in the previous stage. Okay, so what I mean by that is you don't wait to the retirement stage to think about retirement. You think about retirement during this whole early stages, right? You think about retirement during your midlife, and then you think about retirement in retirement. Okay, so at every step of the way, you want to make sure that you're taking care of these things. You want to start thinking about long-term care, long-term planning, power of attorney. You don't, again, there's nothing that says that you have to wait till you're older to do it. And what we've come to see is that in a lot of cases, a lot of the tools and options that are available to you are more expensive the longer you wait. A good one that I want to hit on is long-term care. Long-term care right now, what they're saying is that on average, 3 out of 4 people living right now would need some form of long-term care if they are to live well into their 70s and 80s and such. And long-term care is really when you're not able to do or perform 2 or more daily activities. These are the simple stuff. Just get into the restroom, right? Being able to bathe yourself and feed yourself and drive and pick up prescription, those normal day-to-day stuff. When somebody is not able to do 2 or more of those, they actually qualify for long-term care. So if you think about it, long-term care has nothing to do with age, although it tends to hit people as you get older, but it has really nothing to do with age. It can hit you at any time. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're taking care of those type of things and setting up financial plans for that. I cannot understress this point because regardless of what you save to live on, if you don't take care of some of these things that touches your health and all these things like the long-term care, you can literally blow through all your savings overnight if you contract an issue and require these type of services. So next. Now in your midlife, you really want to think about the impact of losses. Okay. Now losses can hit you at any stage of life, but it's really more pronounced as you get older, right? Because guess what? You don't have enough time to have to recoup and then also catch up on the progress that you made. Let's take a simple example. Okay. Let's say somebody has $10,000 right now in some type of account, investment account or something, and the market goes down 50%. What happens? The value of their money or their account is now what? 5,000. Okay. Let's say within a couple months, the market actually gains 50%. What happens to that person's portfolio? Okay. If you're not very financially savvy, this is actually an area where people don't understand. They think, oh, the first 50% that I lost, and then later on I gain another 50%. Net 50% loss, 50% gain is 0. So I'm back to the same place. That's not the case as we see in this example. When you gain that 50% on the 5,000, guess what? Your account is now what? 7,500. You're still down 2,500, right? So in this simple example, you see that you need 100% gain to recoup for that 50% loss that you got. Okay, so the losses are very, very painful. You need to recoup it, and then you can start to grow from there. Okay, so the impact of losses is very, very significant at every stage of life, but it's more pronounced as you get older. Again, if you have any questions, please drop your questions and comments in the chat. We'll make sure that we address these things as we go along. But hopefully these things that we're sharing right now is making sense to you. Let's go to the next slide, please. Again, let's give you some actionable items for the midlife, right? This is an area where you want to review and adjust your financial goals, right? Assess progress towards your goals and adjust as needed, okay? Increase retirement contribution, okay? At this stage in life is where you're at a higher earning potential, okay? So this is where you want to boost how much more you're putting into your retirement, right? Because you're getting closer and closer to that retirement stage. So you want to boost and put as much as you can into that retirement contribution. You want to diversify, right? Diversification is all about what? Ensuring that you have a certain level of risk tolerance to the market risk, right? No one can control the market. The market is going to do what it's going to do, regardless of how you and I feel about it. The only people that can move the market are those that have the financial capital and the financial stamina to move the markets. And those are the big heavyweights. They do it every day when they can and they want to, okay? You and I are not that. I'm talking about, when I'm talking about those that can move the market, we're talking about the central banks. We're talking about big investment, firms and those type of entities, not individuals. It's very hard for an individual to move the market. Some people do have a huge influence on certain markets, but again, The market is bigger than each one of us. Okay, so consider insurance needs. Okay, do you have life insurance, health insurance, and other long-term care in place? In fact, when it comes to the insurance and different things, what we're doing now for a lot of families and a lot of people is that we're getting them set up early in life. We have plans that we can set up for kids, pretty much, right from infancy. And what it does is allow them to basically take care of their life insurance needs, and then, and lock in a low rate for the rest of their life. Okay. Trust me, in a lot of cases, you're much healthier when you're younger than as you get older. Okay. So your life is like a commodity. And what that means is that over time is losing some of its value, right? As we get older, we become more riskier, in terms of our ability to get insurance. So you want to take care of some of these things early, okay? Save for college, okay? The popular ones are the 529, but there's also other vehicles that we recommend, that you can reach out to us, we can work with you. We have plans that we actually call $1 Million Baby plans. It's a fancy name. But what it does is, like I said, it allows people to save early in life, give their kids options outside of just the 529 college plans. There are other plans out there that one can leverage. And then estate planning. Okay, what is an estate? Estate really looks at all your assets and liabilities, which anybody has. And really, from the age of 18 onwards, you're considered an adult. So you really have to start thinking about what you own and what you don't, and who you owe, right? And creating wills, establishing a trust, and designating beneficiaries is very, very key and very important. You can navigate these things and continue to make changes as you go along, but these are things that you want to definitely consider early on in life, okay? And making sure that you have an estate plan in place, okay? Like I said, it's all about your assets and your liabilities, which everybody has, right? Everybody has assets and everybody has some form of liabilities. The goal is to have more assets than liabilities, okay? So that you don't pass debt to your heirs. But these are very, very important because especially within our community, one of the things that we see is that in a lot of cases, people don't plan for these things. And then by the time they're gone, they leave a bunch of mess for a bunch of people to deal with, okay? And what is sad is that some of us go through it and then we repeat the cycle, okay? Leaving a bunch of mess for us to, for the people that are left behind to more or less, have to struggle. Somebody said, "Hey, how do you even save when you don't have enough to meet your expenses?" Well, that's where budgeting comes. If you don't have enough to meet your expenses, maybe you need to move to a different location, right? To reduce your expenses. Maybe it's your cost of living that's getting you. Maybe you need to find another job. Maybe you need to think about having a part-time business or something, right? But identifying that your income and identifying and recognizing that your expenses exceed your income is the key. Once you know that, now you can find a solution. And what is so powerful is that, the master brain doesn't know reality, right? When you talk about your conscious and your subconscious. Okay, so once you feed it an objective, a goal, it starts to work towards that, right? You guys see the power of the law and the power of attraction happening, right? The minute you buy, let's say, a red car, you start seeing the same red car all over the place. It's not that the car just all of a sudden started showing up. You started to focus on it because you have one, right? So if you recognize that, hey, I need to increase my income, guess what? Your master brain will start to look for opportunities to help you get there. Trust me, it works. You just have to tell it what you're looking for, and it will direct you and help you order your steps, okay? Going on to the next slide. Now let's talk about retirement, okay? Now, I walk through this as stages in life, but this is something that I really like people to understand, that retirement is not age. Retirement has nothing to do with age, okay? You can actually retire at any stage. What is retirement typically? Retirement is typically when people want to enjoy the fruits of their labor, and they can more or less, they just want to take it a little bit easy. They, maybe do some of the vacation and the traveling and different things, right? It's a stage in life. But typically, this whole concept of retiring at an older age comes in because we need that first 0 to 30 to learn. And then we need that 30 to 60 to work and earn money. And then once we've earned enough, we can quote unquote retire. But guess what? If you understand what I just said, then what we're missing is really the key ingredient is the financial resources. Whenever you can have the financial resources, you can hit this stage at any point, right? You can go to that dream vacation and that dream destination at any point. Guess what, guys? If your dream destination is Hawaii, Hawaii is open right now. It's open. Somebody's heading there right now as we speak, right? Somebody's sitting under that palm tree right now, the palm tree that you would like to sit under, right? Somebody's on that cruise right now, right? So it's really when you have the resources and your ability to live your life does not require you having to physically trade hours for dollars. Guess what? You could practically retire. Okay, so start to think about it that way, meaning that, and if you start to think about it that way, you can actually put yourself in a position where you don't have to perhaps wait till way into your deep 60s or whatever to retire. Okay, you start to transitioning from saving to spending, right? Managing healthcare and estate planning. Okay, importance of maintaining financial health in retirement. Again, you want to be very careful in this stage also. If you thought losses were impactful in your 40s and 50s, please don't try it in your 60s, okay? You just don't have enough time to recoup and for it to grow, okay? And then in this stage, as you're in this stage, you want to really start to consider, how do I avoid probate cost? What is probate anyway? Probate is basically when the state has to get involved to basically disperse assets and liabilities, okay? And there's a lot of legal and a lot of court and all of that. The last thing that anybody wants to deal with, on top of the loss of a person, okay, the emotional and the financial stress from that, and then having to navigate the legal system to then be able to recoup the things that rightfully belong to them, right? It's very expensive also, so you want to avoid that. So you want to manage your estate, make sure there's estate taxes and all those things. You want to reduce how much taxes you pay, okay, as much as possible. There's one, somebody said I can't guarantee everything in life, but if you live in the U.S., there's a couple things that I can guarantee you. One, you're going to pay taxes. Two, you're going to die at some point, which we all will. And then you're still going to pay more taxes, okay? And what is actually interesting is that the estate tax is the highest tax bracket. Somebody said, why? And the simple truth of the matter is that dead people cannot negotiate, okay? So the estate tax is the highest. So what you want to do is make sure that you're reducing how much goes into an estate taxes, okay? By making sure that you have investments in the right vehicles. And we can talk more again one-on-one on some of these things. I want to talk about the importance of establishing financial powers at this stage. Okay, you could do it at various stages, but at this stage, it's very critical that you do it, right? Which is power of attorney. Okay, in case you become incapacitated. Okay, in terms of medical decisions and financial decisions, who's going to make all these decisions? And more now, it's starting to get to a point where we need to start to look at other means of actually keeping these records. Writing a will in a piece of paper somewhere and filing it away was good maybe a long time ago, right? Today, people have all these online accounts and all these electronical different things with passwords and different things. So you want to be careful, right? If you have passwords that requires biometric things and all these, things, complicated things, and no one knows about it, guess what? If God forbid something happens to you, that resources or those assets are locked, and it's very hard for your family to get to them. The last I checked, it said there's between about 59 billion of unclaimed assets across the states because people are gone and no one knows where all the resources are. So you want to start to document these things. Where do you have accounts? Whether it's big or small, it doesn't matter. You want to take an inventory of all those things and take it one step at a time. Going next. Somebody said, do you have to stop investing when there's a crisis? Well, it depends, right? In some cases, somebody says, when there's a crisis, there's an opportunity. So there's always an opportunity in every market, right? When the market actually goes down, doesn't mean that everybody lost money. Guess what? As you are betting for the market to go up, somebody's betting for the market to go down. Okay. When there's a buyer, there's also a seller. Okay. For the market, for there to be a market, every time you're buying, somebody's selling. Okay. So at every stage, there's an opportunity. So you can never stop investing. You invest and you invest and you invest and you invest. Just making sure that you're managing the risk and making sure that you're putting your money in the right sectors. Okay. But you can never quit investing at any stage in life. Okay. Then one of the things that people don't actually think about a lot, as I give you some actionable items, is that, okay, I've saved, I've invested. A lot of people talk about the contribution years. You know, they don't talk about the distribution years. Okay. How are you going to access those resources once you hit that retirement age, right? What do you do with all that 401k money once you leave your last company, right? Who's going to help you manage all those resources now? Okay. So you want to have a sustainable withdrawal strategy, because at this stage in life, you've worked hard, you've saved up a lump sum, and maybe you're getting ready to leave your job or your business or whatever. And basically now you have this pot of resources that you need to manage for, in some cases, another 30 years of your life. So you want to be very, very careful that, just like it's important to consider the contribution aspect, you need to consider the withdrawal strategy. Is your money in a place where you're going to have to pay more taxes on it, right? Remember, we talked about reducing your tax burden, right? If you put your money in the high taxed areas, guess what? You can save a lot. By the time you get it, the government hits it with all that taxes, and now you're wondering, oh, I don't have quite what I thought I had. Okay, health management. Stay informed. Okay, and know that you have different options, and make sure that you have the right options in place. Okay, stay active. I cannot stress that enough. Make sure you stay active. Study shows that those that are consistently active in life, guess what? They get to live a well-fulfilled life. They pursue your hobbies, travel, connect with people, don't sit idle. Okay, always connect, always pursue things. It doesn't take much. Sometimes we go for, this time we flew, but sometimes we do road trips. Put gas in the car and go, right? It doesn't matter. Even if you don't have a good destination, you can go to a place, check into a hotel, sleep, check out the town, and drive back. Guess what? It's all experience, okay? And it's all about helping you build that well-rounded life, okay? There's only one life to live, so you want to make sure you enjoy it, at least on this earth. The other one, we don't know yet. We'll get there. But while we're here, we want to enjoy a little bit of it also, okay? Monitor and adjust your finances. Regularly review and adjust, okay? You always want to, regularly review and adjust. Why? Because things are changing and your needs are also changing, okay? And yes, this review process is where you can consider your risk tolerance, right? Some people are very risk averse, and some people are very, highly risk, high risk individuals. You want to have a balance, right? In your younger years, you can go high risk, right? But again, as you get older, you have to cut down on your tendency to take risk, right? Because, at that point, it's much riskier for you, right? Estate distribution is some of the things we talked about. Make sure you're communicating to your family, okay? These are people, just because you communicate these things with your family doesn't mean you're going to die, okay? People just confuse the two. They think by not talking about these topics is what helps them live or something, right? And because of that, again, especially in our community, because of these type of things, that's why we end up leaving a lot of confusion when people are gone. Okay, I know what I'm talking about when I say these things. I've experienced some of that in my life and in our family also, in some of these things, right? Especially if you are one of good, if you've done well for yourself, right? You don't want to leave confusion in the end. Consider philanthropic goals and legacy planning, right? How do you want to be remembered by? Is there a special charity or organizations that you really care about, that you really want to support? Okay, give back to society. These are the things that you want to start to think about as you get to that stage. Go next, please. And as I slowly bring this conversation to an end, and I just can't believe how fast the time goes. Again, I'm so excited. I'm hopeful that I'm at least helping or at least impacting you in some way. At least something will drop in, right? Maybe you've heard some of these things before, but hopefully today becomes a turning point for some of you, right? As you heard this message, or those that will hear this later on, right? Of all the things that I talked about, right? The thing that you need to consider or really think about is what? The high cost of waiting. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. The high cost of waiting. And I love this quote from Abraham Lincoln, who said that things may come to those who wait, but it's only the things left by those who hustle. Right? They said the early bird gets the worm, right? And that's what it is. If you wait for the hustlers to get there and basically take what they want, that's what you will get when you come back behind them, right? You get the leftovers. Okay. So you don't want to, more or less take the leftovers. It's the message, right? And you also don't want to wait. It's a very expensive price when you wait, right? And it's in various stages, whether it's about planning for your retirement, you're managing your finances, saving for a college education, whether it's making sure you have long-term care planning in place. All those things become more and more expensive the longer you wait. Okay, next slide, please. Let me just give you a simple visual of the high cost of waiting, right? Anybody wants to be a millionaire by the age of 67? Okay. If you wanted to be a millionaire by the age of 67, look at the path that you have, right? Assuming a 9% growth rate, right? This is just hypothetical, but assuming a 9% growth rate, somebody right now at the age of 27, if they want to have a cool $1 million by 67, only needs to put away $214 a month. Okay. If you wait 10 years later, in order to achieve that same goal, you have to start putting away $546 every single month, clockwork. If you miss, you may not get there, okay? If you wait another 10 years, okay, this is what I mean by the high cost of waiting. If you wait another 10 years, guess what? You go from 546 to 1,497 every single month. You have to start putting away. And if you wait till you're 57, guess what? After you paid all your bills and everything else, you have to be pumping away $5,000 every single month. And God forbid if you wait till you're 62, now you got to start stucking away about $13,258 every single month in order to hit 67 a million at the age of 67. So look at the disparity between the person that started earlier and the person that started late. Okay, so that's the high cost of waiting. Okay, you want to make sure that you do not wait. Okay, even if it's little. That's why I said earlier we're starting families off at 1 year old. I got clients that are 1 right now that have already set up a plan to ensure that they have $1 million by the time they're of age. Their parents are doing this for them. We start early, we start small. It could be as simple as $50, $40, something small, and then we start to escalate it as the child gets older, right? And then you can eventually turn that plan to them, and they can take it over into their retirement years, okay? So the key is what? Start early and stay consistent, okay? Next slide as I bring this to an end. Let me give you the 6 steps to financial independence, and I'll try to wrap this up so we can open it up for more questions if there's any. The first area we want to look at every time I sit down with a client to go over the 6 steps to financial independence is what? Cash flow. Okay. How much is coming in and how much is going out? We have to first establish that, right? Then once we establish the cash flow, if the person needs to make additional income, it's going to be evident, right? In most cases, they probably already know. They probably just never took the time to look at it, but we'll be able to assess that. Then we want to first then get the person to where they have an emergency fund in place, about 3 to 6 months, like we talked about, right? Then we start talking about debt management, making sure we consolidate debt, eliminate debt, right? Getting rid of high interest items first, right? Because again, there's only so much resources that will come into your hands in your lifetime, right? And debt, interest, taxes, and all those things are what? Subtractions from those resources that came into your hands. So it is our duty, it's your duty to make sure that you eliminate and reduce these things as much as possible. Then proper protection. Make sure you have all your insurances in place, right? Protecting against loss of income, protecting your family and your assets, okay? You want to have proper protection. It is sad when you find out that people put warranties on their cell phone, they have warranties on their automobile, they have everything, they insure everything else, but then they don't insure the most important thing that is managing all of that, which is their life, okay? And remember, the protection in this case is not for the person that's gone, it's for the person that lives, okay? It's to make sure that when you're gone, again, we have to first establish that we're going to go anyway, okay? The next thing is that you've been given an opportunity where the value of your life can actually create assets for your family, okay? So if you don't take advantage of that tool and you're gone, guess what? What you did? You left debt and stress on those people that you love, right? They have to now figure it out. And if point number one was already a challenge where there was not enough money to meet the expenses in the two-income household, guess what happens when it's just one, right? It's even worse, guys. It's even worse, okay? If you want the type of going out celebration of life, again, I hate to speak life and death in this manner, but again, it's life, okay? We're preparing for a better future. If you want to have that type of life, then you make sure you put things in place so that later on your grandkids will say, oh, look at grandpa or look at grandma, right? They did something. If you lead debt, they don't even want to remember you, okay? Nobody wants that. And then build wealth, right? We talked about making sure that you're able to outpace inflation by investing. That's why you invest in this. You want to outpace inflation, right? I mean, it is unbelievable how expensive things are now. A Toyota Camry is like, what, 40,000 now. Imagine what a Toyota Camry is going to be another 10 years from now, okay? So you're going to need more and more resources. Don't think of 100,000 today. Think of 100,000 10 years from now. Think of the value of 200,000 10 years from now. So you're going to need way more than you think you're going to need, okay? So don't cheapen that part. You want to save as much as possible because the cost of living is increasing at a rapid pace. And if God blesses you and you're able to execute these first 5 steps, the last step is what? Wealth preservation. Making sure that we're able to then transfer that wealth the most efficient way possible, okay? And it's actually, we're going through that right now. The great retirement and the great wealth transfer is happening right now as we speak, right? Because right now in the US, every single day, okay, about 8,000 people are reaching the retirement age. This is all the baby boomers, right? They were born right after World War I. This is actually the wealthiest generation. And they are on pace to transfer trillions of dollars, right? Trillions of dollars, okay? So they want to make sure that you preserve wealth. And with that, I think we go to the last slide on here, which is where we summarize and say, thank you so much. Hopefully, we've been able to, like I said, say one or two things that help you. I'll address the last question that I see on here, and then we'll open it up, which is, as a stock trader, when the market fluctuates, do you have to jump out or in? Well, that comes with having that plan, right? Starting with the end in mind. Why did you even get into that stock? Why did you buy that asset? Was it for short term or long term? If it's for long term, then you have to ride the wave and just let it be and forget about it, right? If it's short term, in and out, then you have to consider that also. Now, when it comes to, again, financial planning, always think long term, right? Because the markets are going to go up and down on a day-to-day basis, okay? But always think long term. If you're thinking long term, it determines where you first place that money, okay? And then it determines how you behave when there's changes in the marketplace. Hopefully that helps address the question. With that, I'm done. My contact is on the screen. Cell phone 309-530-4004. You can also send us an email at our support email, BOS, which is back office support at Freeport Financial Group. With that, I'd like to turn it back to the host. Thank you so much for your
Wow.
attention today.
Wow. 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 Mr. Anthony. This is deep, very insightful, educative. This is a lifelong learning. This is something that we should have all known when we were starting off that we didn't get to know. I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me this? You know? So God bless you for
Thank
this rich knowledge you have imparted. As destiny shapers, we are not just looking at living our purpose, we are also looking at our financial strength.
you.
And
Yes.
you said something, you said lack of financial security leads to limited opportunities. And
Yes.
the opposite is true. If I have financial security, I can do anything I want. I can
Yes.
retire early. I
Yes.
can travel anywhere that I want with my family and live my life to the fullest. Are we not tired of going to work 8 hours? You come, you are so exhausted. It's
Mhm.
all because we haven't paid enough attention to our financial strength and provided that security for us and our future and our family. So this is timely for all of us, irrespective of what age or what stage you are in life. It is so crucial. And I think it is time for us to redeem the time.
Yes.
So I thank everybody that is with us. I want you to love your friend by sharing this with them. You know, everybody must know this. Friends, family, colleagues, students, classmates, share with everybody because we've all made these huge financial mistakes. And we look back and we are like, why didn't anybody tell us whilst we were growing up, whilst we were starting off in life? And we've made these wrong choices and it's affecting us now. And if we don't redeem the time now, it's going to affect our tomorrow. So I don't know. I'm very emotional talking about this. Is anybody here who feels the same? Uh, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the knowledge. That is Lady Berta. Mr. Henry Noy says, thank you so much.
Thank
Uh,
you.
let me see. Do you need to? Okay, I think you touched on this whilst you were presenting, right?
Yes, I believe I did on that
You
one.
did. Yeah, I remember you touched on it. And if anybody has any other question, feel free. Do you have to stop investing when there is? I think you also touched on this, and
Yeah.
there are a lot of thank yous. How do you say it if your earnings do not meet your expenses? Did you touch on this? I don't remember.
I think I did, but I can say it again. If your expenses do not meet your earnings, then there's only two solutions. One, reduce expenses. The second is what? Increase income. And I am a firm believer in the second solution, which is increase in income, because there's only so much you can shrink, guys. And the more you shrink, guess what? You're also reducing the quality of life, right? People are eating powdered eggs and non-organic food and, just trying to cut back. And there's just not a whole lot that you can it's only so much you can cut, right? So to me, the better option is always looking at how much more can you earn, because you have more capacity than perhaps you give yourself credit for. And I'm a firm believer in people actually living their God-given destiny, right? The things that are really on their heart, having them chase those versus having them shrink and continue to shrink into a life of mediocrity. So that would be my advice. Find ways to earn more is always the solution.
Awesome. And that is what we should all be doing, because those 8 hour job, the money they give us, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do much. It can't take care of our bills, let alone, save and invest and all that. So that is why we should all dig deeper into our lives and ask ourselves, what other skills do we have? What other interests do we have? What can we do to help us earn more? Talking about exploring new streams of income and even careers. Can you do something on the side? So let's all explore, and that is something I can help people to come up with. And I know Sir Anthony can also help you establish your business on the side along the way. So let's have this conversation going on. Let's do more than we are doing. We can do a lot. We are leaving a lot on the table. Lady Bertha says the market is going to do what it's going to do, regardless of how we feel about it. Only those who have the financial capital controls the market. And I think she captured what you were saying
Yep.
so beautifully. Thank you, Lady Bertha. And I don't know if anybody has any other question. Uh, I don't know if I captured this quote to us. The good things may come to those who wait. Why do you want to wait? Why do you want to wait for somebody's good things? You can do yours now. You don't
Yes.
have to wait for anybody's good thing. Like after they are dead and gone, then I'm going to look for inherit. No, seek yours now. You can do it. You can do it. And so let's go beyond this mediocrity. The key to financial independence, as he said, is start with what? You have to start early and you have to stay consistent. And when he started this presentation, he said, know what you want, plan for it, set the goals, and then come out with the actionable steps and start working towards that. So you know yourself. I know mine. What do you need? What are you lacking as far as your financial strength is concerned? Today is what? November 25th.
Yep.
Very soon, 2023 will be gone, and I will be going to the next year. Somebody says, oh, I'm growing, I'm growing. Yeah, but you also have opportunities. Growing means you still have opportunities. You
Yes.
can do something about your situation. So let's not continue complaining about situation. Let's start taking action. This is wealth of wisdom. You don't want to. I will go back and listen and listen and listen till it gets to me, and I'm taking those actions. So please, I encourage everybody, take your time and go back and listen to this again over and over, and always ask yourself, what state am I in? Am I doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing to help me become financially secure and independent at that age of retirement? And also, he said you can retire at any time. We see all these people retire. They go, they travel. You get up in the morning, you are so busy going, and some people are taking it so and you are like, what? I don't know working. They have a secret. My brothers and sisters, let's also get up, use this wisdom and knowledge, and do something about it to bring us to a place of financial independence. And as he said, you can reach out to him. He shared his information. Reach out to him. He's also on Facebook as Sir Anthony. Ask Anthony, right? Ask Anthony, ASK Anthony on Facebook. Reach out to him, and his number is there 309. Also, if you are not in US, it will be plus 309 530 4004, and email him with your questions. You can ask him to book appointments with you to help you to take you to the next level. I think we all have to do that. So thank you, and God bless you all for joining. And say, Anthony, God bless you. That is the best thing I can say. Thank you will never be enough. And I think we should take this opportunity as daughters and sons of Christ Oasis Ministries. We want to wish our Papa, Apostle Isaac Pinto, a happy and prosperous 60th birthday. I know his teachings and his mentoring has helped all of us to be where we are now, and we appreciate him so much. So, Pastor Isaac, God bless you and happy 60th birthday. We are praying that God will double your age, 120, and if you want to go beyond, so you can go in good health and strength to become the person that you are created to be and impact those generations and generations to come. So God bless you. And ask Anthony, God bless you, bless your beautiful wife and your beautiful daughters. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful and so thankful, Ms. Sheila Noah and Destiny Shapers. God bless everybody for taking the time to tune in today. Have a blessed weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.